You drove all night in circles, singing with the radio. I was the third string tight end, 6'2" and shy. She was the banker's daughter, was the middle of July. She said, meet me neath that magnolia, out past the briars and beach. The river's rolling slow, yeah, and there's jasmine in the breeze. And while we can, let's take a chance. Don't get many nights like these, 'cause young don't last forever, and good hearts don't grow on trees. No, no. I was working till 7, pumping gas on South Street. My buddy Chip was behind the counter, didn't need no ID. I was I think I'll start my morning with Sinatra. Let those blue eyes speak to me. Skip all the things that I don't want to, and let my mind wander free. It's 42 cold and rainy, and something's got me thinking maybe it's gonna be a good day. I don't know why, but it feels like love's coming my way. And the sun ain't even shining. If the world gonna keep on spinning, let it keep spinning on my way. I gotta feel it. It's gonna be a good day. Look at the leaves and how they turn, just like this smile here on my face. Life is a song that I'm still learning, and I can hear the music falling right into place. It's gonna be a good day. I don't know why, but it feels like love's coming my way. And the sun ain't even shining. If the world gonna keep on spinning, let it keep spinning on my way. I gotta feel it. It's gonna be a good day. Oh. Well, maybe it's the thought that love is right around the corner. I don't know. But I don't really need a reason when I got this happy feeling in my soul. Oh, it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. And if the world gonna keep on spinning, let it keep spinning on my way. I gotta feel it. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be good day.
All right, good morning on this beautiful Tuesday morning in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Welcome everybody to Tuesday team meeting, and we are going to jump right into it. So as been a recent trend, as people have had some unbelievable success in the month of June, we are super excited to kick off this Tuesday morning, this meeting. with celebrating a handful of people who have capped in the month of June, who gave themselves a 30% raise and enjoy 100% of their commission moving forward. So let's kick it off right away in alphabetical order. The first person coming at you live this morning has been in the business for several years, out in the Lake Country Market Center. She is what I consider a very steady Eddie, calming voice for her clients. Katie Brumder, congrats on capping in the month of June. Next person, this person is the one who keeps Paul Mikulik organized, making sure he shows up on time and making sure his dates and deadlines and everything in his world is organized. She is a quiet, calming voice for Paul. Steph Cole, congrats on capping in the month of June. Next up, believe it or not, this is one of the original residential real estate families in Milwaukee. She's also sharp as a tack and is also an attorney, if you didn't know this. Her dad, I believe, started Federated Realty way back in the day. Ellen DeRoga, congrats on capping in the month of June. Next up is a guy I've been running in the halls of Whitefish Bay High School with for several years. He's one of my brother's ages, but I've known him for a long time. Continues to build his business. Young guy, just keeps grinding away every day. DJ Frisch, congrats on capping in the month of June. Next up, incredible father, learning how to balance both his professional and personal life. Loves Cash every day. I think every time I talk to him, he brings up his son Cash. Stephen G., congrats on giving your family a raise in the month of June. Next up, has an unbelievable eye, has an architecture background, really has a unique background in terms of architecture design, helping her clients get homes ready to list. Tammy Herpel, congrats on capping in the month of June. Next up, relatively newer to the business, has made an immediate impact on her team, very involved. I can't thank her enough for her work on the Whitefish Bay Civic Foundation, very involved in the North Shore community, not only with the Civic Foundation, but also with baseball, sports, and a bunch of other things. Phenomenal person. Katie Hoven, congrats on capping in the month of June. Next up, this guy continues to plug away every single day, has had some things thrown at him in life that have presented some challenges for him, but he continues to forge forward. He's doing many projects, recently got engaged. Nick Janicek, congrats on capping in the month of June. Couple more. So if I was running the halls of Whitefish Bay High School with DJ Frisch, I used to roam the bars on State Street with this person in Madison. Left teaching, and as many teachers have found immediate success in the real estate world. She is less than 12 months into her first year in real estate and has already capped. Nikki Kunik, congrats on capping in the month of June. Next up, this person has an unbelievable background, used to work for Birkenstocks corporate, has a really sharp mind, has jumped in this business full force, has a really cool, interesting background. I love seeing her at the bike races on the east side. Kelly Nicolancy, congrats on capping in the month of June. Next person is probably what I consider to be the most intentional, most purposeful person in the residential real estate business. We all have a ton to learn from her. She is always willing to give. She gives far more than she receives, and it makes her an unbelievable person every single day. And your lives are better for it by having a relationship with her. Sarah Oberbrunner, congrats on capping in the month of June. Next up, another one of those people that is new to the business, moved here from New York City, immediately picked up on the business, has a corporate background, and just starts building her business every single day. Julie Scott, congrats for everything you've built in the last 12 to 18 months, and congrats on capping in the month of June. And then last person, out in the Lake Country Market Center, is an incredible mom. Balances both her personal and professional life. I've actually surfed with her son on Beaver Lake, showed me a few things or two on how to shred it up. Katie Tessmer, congrats on capping in the month of June. Cool. All right, now I'm turning it over to Diana Gabler, who's going to give us some insight. Because today is the 21st, and if you haven't checked your bank account yet, you should. Oops. Well, no, never mind. We're going to Tech Tuesdays with Brad Yates. Brad, you're up.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. Lindsay's out of town, so I'm playing the role of Lindsay this week. So today we are shifting things a little bit, pivoting things. Over the course of the last few months, we've had to change, alter, and one of the things we're going to be working on today is building your buyer or listing presentation. This is one that I created towards the beginning of the Safer at Home, and this was a very simple 7-8 page, which was a questionnaire. And it's just a couple pages of it that I send out before a Zoom meeting, and it gives them an idea of what we're going to talk about. I may or may not hit all the questions, but we're going to go through, and this is all created simply in Command. And looking forward to seeing everybody at 12 o'clock today. So see you there.
Cool. Thanks, Brad.
Hey, you're welcome.
All right. We are jumping over to compliance updates with Steph Connard.
Hi, gang. Good morning. Just have a few updates today. Couple of which have been topics in recent meetings, but we just want to keep them on top of mind for people. So I'm going to mention them again. But first, SentryLock use and some safety measures that we want to remind people of. So I've got an incident that I want to share with everybody, and I want to preface this by saying that I don't think this is a common occurrence. It's not at all. It's very rare that it happens, but we do want to highlight it for our agents because if it happened to one of us, the consequences could be meaningful. So again, want to highlight this. So a couple weeks ago, a co-broke agent, so a non-Keller Williams agent, accessed one of our listings using SentryLock. With our Bluetooth technology, if we are within range with our apps, we are able to access any SentryLock black box. So knowing that, this agent had a approved showing for the listing down the street, but mistook ours for that one. So we entered the home. There was an alarm. The alarm was set off and the owner was notified. This property has been under contract for, I think, at least 4 to 6 weeks at this point. Of course, was very alarmed. She did not know what was happening. Got home, saw that the SentryLock black box was open, got in touch with the listing agent, our Keller Williams agent, and our Keller Williams agent was able to see that another agent had entered the home. That is a security feature of SentryLock. She was able to see how long the agent was in the home. He was in there for 25 minutes. So not only did he show the wrong home, but he was in there for 20 minutes and didn't even realize he was in the wrong home. So just as a reminder to ourselves, so when we are showing SentryLock, when we are showing listings with SentryLock access, we need to put in a checkpoint system for ourselves. So we need to double check the address of our confirmed showing. We should confirm the sign is the same brokerage as the confirmed showing. And then double check the picture from the email that you are sent when you get the confirmed showing notification. So again, I don't think that this happens too often, but we should be mindful of this. So that's all I got on that. So again, just be mindful.
It happens more than you think.
Yeah.
It happened last year, Riverbridge condos, 2 units for sale, and they were close together. The agent accessed the wrong one. Behind the door of the wrong one was a PTSD vet with a gun and a pit bull.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, if that happened to one of us, and you know,
I think it's a SentryLock failure. I think you should only be able to get into one lock specifically?
There is one thing that you can do to set it up so that your listing doesn't fall victim to that. You can add a code and it gets sent out with the showing time confirmation. So
Amanda,
Way to go, Amanda.
thank you.
That will be on
Wordless.
next week's team meeting. Is
Will
the
be on next
set that up.
meeting.
Takes the village.
All right,
thanks,
Steph.
Amanda.
Steph,
Yes.
showing etiquette in COVID.
Yes, okay, moving on. Again, this has been a topic in recent meetings, but we just need to keep on top of this. Oop,
My bad.
that's okay. But again, wearing masks at all times when you're in the homes, practicing social distancing with clients at all times, practicing social distancing with agents who are going to be behind you or before you in the showings. It's already built into the showing time that we cannot do overlapping showings, but I personally have been on showings where agents have shown up earlier than they were supposed to. And so again, just making sure that you're staying outside until the next showing is done and then entering the home. Strictly adhering to the seller's instructions. So refer to your showing confirmation for any additional specific instructions that the seller might have. Look for signs at the property that the seller might have. And then when setting up showings, some brokerages are requiring the COVID commitment to be signed by all agents and all parties who will be entering the home. So just making sure that you're noticing that when you're setting up a showing. That should be written into the private remarks. And then that COVID commitment doc should be in the additional docs in the MLS data. So again, you guys all know this, but keeping it top of mind. Next up, so it's the year 2020, it's an even year, so our continuing education coursework is due and our licenses all need to be renewed this year. So you can visit the WRA to get the information on the coursework and how you can take it. There are 18 hours of coursework, 6 mandatory classes. You can do it on demand. I did mention live. I don't think that they're going to be doing live classes, but then you can also do a self-study and get the book sent to you. So once you complete your coursework, then you will renew your license with a DSPS. Their online renewal system will be up, generally it's October of the year. And we'll be reminding you guys again, once you renew your license, you'll send Kimmy and I a copy of your license. That all has to be done by December 14th again. So mark your calendars. And
Hey, Steph, real quick, guys, just want to jump in here on this topic as it relates to continuing ed. We looked it up. So far, only 5% of our Keller Williams associates have completed their continuing ed. Now, granted, it's only in the middle of July. I get it. And I would also tell you, if you have time over the next several months, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting it done early. I will also tell you, DSPS from just a paperwork standpoint is really far behind. It's taking a long time for people to get their licenses up and running. I would not wait on your continuing ed till the 11th hour because you may be putting your license at jeopardy for a few weeks if it takes DSPS to confirm your continuing ed. So I would highly recommend getting this done early this year in 2020 based on everything that's going on.
and I personally recommend doing the self-study books. So I felt that was the most efficient.
Cool.
All right, and then fair housing, again, Kimmy just went over this last week, but we're just gonna highlight it again. The WRA's legal updates included some literature on fair housing and steering, which will be sent off to you guys in the meeting recap from Charlie this afternoon. But again, it is illegal to discriminate based on these protected classes: race, color, religion, gender, national origin, handicap, and familial status. There are additional protected classes under the Wisconsin law, so sexual orientation, marital status, lawful source of income, age, and ancestry. Next slide, Charlie. Again, just we want to systemize our qualifiers. So you must qualify your buyers in all the same way. On your listings, if you are receiving inquiries and you are requiring a pre-approval letter, you must require a pre-approval letter of all clients or customers who call on the property. And then when you're taking a buyer client, use systemic procedures to qualify the buyers. Use an intake form, a standard questionnaire. Let the customer let the customer set the search parameters. We do not want to find ourselves steering our clients or customers in any direction. Again, please read the literature that will be sent out this afternoon. It's a Fair Housing 101 and information on steering.
Cool.
So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Steph. A lot of compliance updates this week, guys, but we're really trying to make sure that we're protecting you and your businesses and your licenses. And with everything that's going on in the world right now, it's always important that we're making sure that we are helping you stay atop of your fiduciary responsibility and mitigating any sort of risk. Know this too, next week, Tuesday, we will make sure we follow up with Amanda's suggestion as it relates to codes on the SentryLock lock boxes. So we'll create a little training as it relates to how to set that up. So we'll dig into that and then also provide the feedback back to GMAR.
Perfect. Thank you so much again, Amanda, for that.
Yeah, we'll jump all over that. Cool. So guys, what I want to do this morning is actually I want to make you think differently. And what I want to make you do is I want to challenge you around your thought process to help you build what I would call your mental, I want to make you think around your confidence as it relates to your ability to serve your client, your confidence in to be able to compete in the marketplace. And a lot of this, the foundation of this mental aptitude is what I'm considering it, is a study that was done, a profile of home buyers and sellers. And I actually shared this back in January, but based on some conversations I've had with people over the last several weeks, I thought it would be good to re-ground ourselves in this because it'll really help you understand why lead generation is important, right? And when you have an understanding of why some of these things are so important based on the profile of home buyers and sellers from last year, it'll maybe help you craft and draft a game plan in terms of how you want to attack the second half of 2020, right? So let's jump into it. When you consider this, right, buyers expected 10 years. So when buyers are looking to buy a home, get this, the majority of people, let's just say it's 75% of people expect to stay in their home that they are purchasing for 8 to 20 years, right? On the front end, when buyers buy a home, they expect to stay in their home for 8 to 20 years. Yet, when you look at it in terms of the tenure in their previous home, 42% of people, 42% of the inventory turned over in less than 7 years, right? So if we go back and forth between, the 75% of people think they'll be there 8 to 20 years, but yet 42% stay there less than 7 years, it ends up telling us, what does that tell us? Buyers actually turn over their homes sooner than they actually believe they will, right? So first little nugget from a lead generation standpoint is the horizon in which the buyer believes they're going to buy their second home with you, in which they actually do buy their second home with you, is significantly shorter than what they believe it to be going into the transaction, right? So if they believe it to be 20 years and it ends up only being 7 years, what does that tell you about how you need to maintain a relationship with clients to make them a client for life, knowing that those horizon gaps are much shorter than people expect, right? And when you look at what is the first step in the home buying process that people look to, it really comes down to this, right? And what it comes down to is 72% of buyers began their process either online or with a realtor. When you consider that 72% either online or with their realtor, it shows you that A, information is easily and readily accessible in today's world, and B, the agent is very much still in the center of the transaction, right? So how are you helping your buyers understand the process and gather information in terms of the right information and knowing where to look and how to look for homes in the home buying process? Next, the buyers, where buyers found the home they purchased, 52% of the time, they found it on the internet, and 29% of the time, they found it through an agent, right? So again, going back to almost 1/3 of the time, the home they ended up purchased was through information that was provided by the agent. 52% of the time was found through internet searches that they were doing on their own. Again, if I look back or look ahead into how I plan to attack the back half of 2020, all interesting little nuggets as to how am I going to help my buyers access readily available information and the right information that's accurate, right? And if you look at the method of the home purchase as it relates to the buyer side, in 2019, 89% of transactions used an agent or a broker to purchase their home, right? That is an all-time high, right? And in the world of where complication, our world is getting more complicated, not less complicated, people seek advice. Again, this instills a ton of confidence in me in terms of the agent's ability to serve their clients, or the client's viewpoint of the agent as the centerpiece of the transaction to help them manage through what can be a very complicated process to the casual consumer, right? So now let's jump over, that was on the buyer side. Now let's jump over to the listing side, right? So how did sellers find their agent, right? When you consider this, 66% of listers or sellers found their agents because of referral or they were a past client. 66%, right? So what does that tell me? My number one asset in this business is my reputation and my brand. My reputation and my brand are the most important thing in order for me to secure the listing. Now, this is a very telling statistic as well. Seller interviews, the number of agents sellers contacted before deciding on whom to sell with. 75% of the time, sellers only interviewed one agent before listing their home. 15% of the time, they may have interviewed two people. So if you think about this, 90% of all listings in 2019 interviewed majority of the time, one person, maybe two people. So as it relates to listings, oftentimes I get the question, what does it take to win listings? What does it take to win listings? You have to be first. So if you, again, go back to your lead generation tactics in the back half of 2020, what are you doing to be the first one in the door? And once you are the first one in the door, what are you doing to close that listing appointment to make sure that those listing docs are signed before you even leave, knowing that if you didn't get it the first time, the person right behind you is more than likely the one that's going to get the listing appointment or the listing. Very, very interesting information. And I would also suspect with, COVID and today's risk tolerance as it relates to health and things like that, I would actually imagine in 2020, the number of sellers that are only interviewing one agent probably jumps substantially as they're trying to mitigate how many people they're connecting with. So just think of that. If you're not first, you're last. And if you're last, you didn't get the listing. Right? What do sellers want from their agent? Consider this. There was no mention of compensation, right? And of the three largest statistical categories in terms of what sellers want from their agent, they want to help the seller market the home to potential buyers. They want to help sell the home within a specific time frame, and they want to get the largest ROI, right? So what does that tell me? People want you to maximize their return on investment, and they want you to maximize exposure of their listing. That's it. There's no mention of compensation as it relates to what sellers want from their agent. This goes back to some of the conversations we've had in July around defending your commission. Now, what are the most important factors for sellers as it relates to listing? And as I said before, and I'll say it again, your number one asset you have in this business is your reputation, your brand, and then number two, obviously, is honest and trustworthiness, right? So if you invest in anything, invest in your reputation, invest in your brand, and we know that 66% of listings came from either a past client or a referral, right? And you can see down here, again, I go back to commission was only the deciding factor in 3% of the transactions that were surveyed in 2019. You will not lose a home, more often than not, you will not lose a home based on commission percentages. So be confident in your value proposition and be confident in your ability to communicate your value to defend your commission. One other thing as it relates to compensation negotiations is the real estate agent 46% of the time is the one who initiated discussion of compensation. So what does that tell us? If the agent is the one initiating it, it's not so much as of a concern as it relates on the client's end of it. And you can see down here, 10% of the time the client did know commissions and fees could be negotiated, but did not bring up the topic, or the client did not know commissions and fees could be negotiated 18% of the time. So 46% of the time the agent brought it up, and 28% of the time the client either did not bring it up or they weren't aware that they could bring it up. Again, as I kind of go into this dialogue as it relates to defending your commission and thinking about how we attack the back half of 2020, my message to you is go in confidently as it relates to your ability to list a home. And if you go in thinking that you deserve a less than 6% or less than 5% commission, then that's what you're probably going to get. So go in confidently with your value proposition and be able to articulate that value to your clients to get what you're worth. And then as it relates to methods used to sell a home, so we stated in 2019, buyers, 89% of buyer transactions used an agent, 89% of listing transactions in 2019 utilized an agent or a broker. Again, almost near all-time highs. You can see really going back to 2015 to 2019, it hovers around 89 to 91%. Again, that instills a ton of confidence in me that the consumer very much views the agent in the center of the transaction and values the fiduciary that you provide. And then last thing that I wanted to bring up as it relates to just looking at a few things, I've heard a bunch of chatter on the airwaves. Yeah.
Hey, I'm assuming you're.
Oh, never mind. So then I've heard a bunch of chatter on the airwaves as it relates to discounters, right? And what does it look like from a discounter's perspective? And I just wanted to give you some basic insights into the discounting market within Milwaukee. First thing I did is I just looked at where is everybody's business in the 5-county metro area year to date. And if you look at this, right, here, what you see down here down below is everybody's year-to-date trends through pretty much yesterday through MLS. So January 1st through yesterday as it relates to everybody's year-to-date trends just on listings. This isn't even account for buyer side. On the listing side of the business, Keller Williams in total in the 5-county metro area is up 15%. Lake Country flat fee is down 2%. Redefined is down 30%. Homestead is up 2%. Excel is down 1%. The reason I chose these 4 guys isn't really necessarily to call them out. It's more so that they're the 4 largest discount listing brokerages in the Milwaukee metro area across the 5-county area. So I provide this to you insight as to, when you look at this, what is the consumer telling us as it relates to those trends? The consumer's telling us that they're willing to pay a value in a very complicated environment to maximize exposure and maximize return. I would not be nearly as confident in saying that if all of these guys' businesses right now, knowing that, inventory is super low, buyer demand is super high, listings are selling really, really fast. If these trends were totally in the opposite direction of up 10, 15, 20%, I'd say, the consumer believes that, they can sell their home with the flat fee guys and get the largest return, but they're not telling us that. They're telling us that they understand and see the value in listing with a full service broker to maximize exposure and maximize return. So let's just take a look at from a comparison standpoint. Keller Williams agents so far year to date have sold 192% more listing volume than the top 4 discount brokers combined year to date in 2020. On average, KW agents sell homes 9.5% faster than the top 4 discounters combined. And on average, KWL agents sell homes that are worth 16% more than the average of the top 4 discounters. So what does that tell us? If you just look at it just purely on a surface level standpoint, typically the higher average price point, the longer the days on market gets. Yet KW Associates are selling homes that are 16% larger, and they're selling them at 9.5% faster. And the trends within the marketplace in terms of listing volume is showing you that the consumer very much values your services and values what you're able to offer them. Now let's just jump over to FSBOs, right? So first sale by owner insights. Couple FSBO insights for you. So for sale by owners only accounted for 8% of transactions in 2019. 36% of sellers try selling their home first before hiring an agent. Very interesting statistic. Usually when people know they're going to try and sell a home, they'll put a few feelers out there to see if anybody will bite. And this kind of jumped at me, 36% tried to sell their home first before hiring their agent. And on average, realtors sell homes for 23% more than FSBOs, right? 23% more than the average FSBO. That is an incredible number when you consider it off of a $300,000 listing. The savings on 6% of selling FSBO does not offset the loss of the 23% difference. And then lastly, for sale by owner properties take 19 days longer to sell. So if you run across a FSBO and their number one motivation is to sell with the highest return in the fastest amount of time, it makes zero sense to try and do it on your own to save a few pennies. Pretty much you're shooting yourself in the foot. So I know there have been a lot of chatter, kind of discussion as it relates to commissions, discounters, and various things of the like. And so I just thought it was important to kind of bring up some of these statistics to share with the group. And I will share this out at the in our Tuesday recap with everybody this afternoon. So just some very interesting insights. And I give this information to you so that you can attack the back half of 2020, be confident in your approach, understand where buyers and sellers are looking and working for information, and don't be caught off guard from a flat fee or discounting commission standpoint. And you should be very much firm in your resolve as it relates to your value proposition. Cool. So let's go get into market insights and weekly trends. I have some very basic stuff that we've reviewed weekly and just again looking at the trends. And then I also took a look at some of the price point data to give you guys an update of what's going on from a price point standpoint and days on market. So you can see here showing time activity, US late this year now is up 13% versus last year. Wisconsin's up 30%. Again, as we talked about last week, the dip we saw there was right around the 4th of July. Totally normal activity. We saw a great rebound. And when you consider this, last week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 4 largest days in terms of showing activity, showings were trending up 70% in the last week. Again, buyers are out in force. As it relates here to units under contract, again, the last 2 weeks are the 2 highest weeks of the year so far in 2020 as it relates to units that went under contract. Again, very positive momentum. Hopefully we can continue to see that climb here. The only thing that'll prevent that is just simply the lack of new inventory. Sales absorption metrics as it relates to the indication of demand. People very much continue. Again, last week was the highest of 2020. This week beat it at 11.9%. 11.9% of the inventory is going on the market is going under contract. It's incredible that what that's telling me from a buyer standpoint is people are now understanding that there is really truly a lack of inventory, and what they may have wanted out of let's just say a $300,000 or $600,000 or $1 million home in terms of the must-haves, they're relaxing some of their parameters, understanding that they have to get into a home, which is why you're seeing these sales absorption rates jump so significantly because inventory is so low. So buyers are willing to kind of compromise some of what they may want in a home in order to get into the marketplace. And then here, new inventory units still really seem to be suppressed. You know, after 4th of July, it jumped up to 717. And then last week, there were 627 new units on the marketplace. Again, to get this to where we need it to be to balance out the market, we needed it around 800 plus. So again, this will continue to be an issue moving forward in the fall, most especially as these numbers continue to remain suppressed, or if we see COVID really continue to spike the way it has and people delay their selling decisions. And then median pricing information. I haven't done this in a while, so I thought it was important. And what I wanted to do was kind of regroup or reground the group as it relates to median price. And why do we use median price versus average price? See, the median price is the middle number. It can be more descriptive of the data set than the average, right? The reason why is if you take all of your data points in terms of homes that are on the market and put them on a line across the paper, the average takes everything into account and puts it right in the middle. What the median does is it removes the outliers in the sequence of data that might skew the average values. So I'll give you an example. Let's just say hypothetically last week, the Eline Mansion, which was for sale on Lake Drive for $10 million, sold. What it would do is totally jump the average price point way up because it's such a huge outlier on the data set sequence, right? The nice thing about using median price is the median price looks at directly in the middle of all the values that sold. So it takes a $10 million home that may have sold out of the equation that would skew the average higher than what it normally would be, right? So a median value is the separating the higher half from the lower half of a data sample, giving you the middle value, right? That's why we use median pricing as it relates to looking at data statistics. So when we look at the total market, all price points, I just looked at, again, I can only look at this in a 30-day window. So I compared June this year versus June last year across the total market in the 5-county metro area. The median price point under contract is up 11% this year, in the month of June, all price points. The median price point sold in the month of June was up 2.5%. And the price per square foot across the entire marketplace is up 10% versus last year. An interesting statistic here that we'll dive into as I segment out the price points is days on market has jumped. Now, it jumped 25%, but when you really look at it, it went from 36 days on market to 45 days on market. It's 9 additional days on the marketplace. It's not a significant, I mean, last year was such an anomaly in terms of how quickly things were selling. And this data really is segmented to one place in the price point, which we'll talk about next. So when you look at homes that are selling less than $350,000, this is 70% of the total for sale market inventory. 70% of the market is on the market right now for less than $350,000. In June, the median price point for those that went under contract jumped up 5.1%. Those that sold went up 2.6%. So this is our lead indicator in terms of where we will see median sold go in July and August. The median sold here is the indicator that we saw from April, May. And then you can see here sold price per square foot was up 11% for the 350 and below price point. Where the days on market for the total market was skewed in the last slide, it's really this price point that's jumped that up significantly. It went from 33 days to 43 days in 2020. I believe if you look at the total macroeconomics of what's going on, I think this price point is the one being most impacted by furloughs and unemployment, service industry folks. So it's, you know, the scary thing in all of this is 70% of the market is below 350. And I believe that on a macro scale is the one being impacted the most in terms of what's going on in the economy. So something I'll be paying attention to specifically as it relates to the below 350 moving into the fall and back half of 2020. As it relates to 350 to 700 price segments, here is really no change. We saw no change in the median price analysis between June of 2019 and June of 2020. Under contract sold, price per square foot jumped a tad, but days on market remained unchanged as well. So this year versus last year, 350 to 700, pretty much the same marketplace. And it represents 23% of the total for sale market inventory. So again, when I equate it to the macroeconomics of what's going on, I consider this to be middle-class America, and I firmly believe that middle-class America actually has been not as impacted as below the 350 price point as it relates to the economy. So again, good to see that this has remained stable. The one that's really kind of jumped back and coming back strong is really the luxury price point. And if you look at the homes 700,000 plus across the 5-county metro area, median price point that went under contract in June of this year was up 7%. Median price point that went sold in June was up 1.4. Again, this is indicative of what happened in the spring. This is going to show us what's going to sell in the fall. And when you look at the sold price per square foot in the luxury market, it's jumped 7% this year versus last year. And the days on market actually went down. So when you look at the data across the spring and now as we head into the summer, the 350 price point and below has gone backwards a little bit as it relates to some of these indicators. 350 to 700 has really remained stable. And the 700 plus has actually come back really strong, where the luxury market was pretty soft in the spring. So again, good information for your sellers who may be in the luxury price points, that the luxury market really has come back strong this summer, and is a good indication of if people were maybe nervous to sell as it relates to their investment in a luxury property. Now is a really, really good time to sell as it relates to what the data is telling us. Cool. I am just going to check quick any questions in the chat function. Cool. Guy Nicolette, what was the source of the 23% more than the FSBO stat? Thanks. That's a great question. That's a national statistic. So what they do is they look at the for sale by owners that sold, and then they look at the total overall inventory that did sell with an agent. And when they compare the two, it was 23% higher that utilized an agent than those that sold on their own. Cool. All right. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mandy, who is going to wrap us up with some education and events. So stay tuned because there's some really interesting, there's an interesting story to be told here. So Mandy, I'm turning it over to you.
All right, thanks, Charlie. Good morning, everybody. So I want you to consider this question just for a minute this morning. When are you going to see the results of the activities you are doing today show up? Most of us know that it takes 30 to 60 days for our activities we are doing today to show up in our business. And last week, we looked at this group's collective results from June and saw some outstanding upward trends in terms of listings taken and contracts written, right? So when we look at those lead metrics, we kind of have to ask, what was that collective group doing 30 and 60 days ago to get those results that we saw in June? Over 70 of you were taking Bold Pivot in April. So we can see the results of these activities with Bold helped result in listings taken was up 123%, and buyer contracts written was up 37%. So I really want to pose the question to you and ask yourself, can you afford to either not take it again if you already took it, or if you didn't take it last time, can your business afford to not participate? Think, what will your numbers look like in October going into the winter by doing Bold now? So Bold Pivot's back. They've added a lot of new content. So if you did take it last time, there's new stuff. They've learned a lot through the feedback that they got even last time to make it even better. So registration is open, $99 to register. It is taking place August 4th through August 28th. And it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we'll adjust our internal training calendar so that you don't miss anything. So be sure to check that out. We also have this week on our internal training calendar, just a little reminder, this Wednesday is a must not miss with Phil Byers. So be sure to check him out tomorrow. Would love to have you all there. It's actually at 10 a.m. So it's a little earlier than some of our Wednesday stuff. So make sure to have that on your calendar.
Guys, and if you want to turn your business into simple database lead generation and touching your clients and making it feel like you never work, come listen to Phil Byers. The guy is a magician as it relates to his 33 touch. And we were on a phone call with him last week prepping for tomorrow's call. And he said, Charlie, I feel like I haven't worked at all in 2020 and my business is up 20%. And it's all because of the systems and models he's built on the back end as it relates to his database management and contact management. So come listen to Phil. He's a great friend of the program down in downtown Chicago. Cool, Mandy.
All right, and then the last thing I have is Mega Camp reminder. So registration is officially open. They have early bird pricing right now. So if you do know you're going to take it, sign up now. I think it's only like $110 to do it, which is incredible because usually this event requires travel and hotel and everything like that. So it's everything you love about Mega Camp. You can do it at home. Ranges from global keynote speakers to a lot of intimate kind of virtual breakout sessions. So registration is open for that. Be sure to check it out.
Cool. Thanks, Mandy. All right, so guys, I'm going to leave you with this, and I meant to have it on a slide, and I don't know what happened to it. So get this. If you didn't check your bank account this morning, you probably should have, because it's the 21st of the month. And in the chat function, somebody tell me what is the 21st of the month. It's payday for many people as it relates to profit share, baby. So get this, right? Profit share dropped this morning in many people's accounts across KW Milwaukee, right? All locations. There was $82,000 that was dropped into people's accounts this morning on the 21st. Get this. More than 85 people made more than $100. Again, all passive income opportunity for you, right? There were 42 people who just this morning made more than $500. And there were 19 people across KW Milwaukee that made more than $1,000 in the month of June on profit share, right? My question to you is this. It is a completely passive opportunity for you. It is open to everybody, and whether you started yesterday or you started 5 years ago, it's never too late to catch up. And it's our version of the 401k for a real estate agent that never goes away. It's an incredible opportunity. There are people who have made 50,000+ in a year, and we have more than 40 people in Milwaukee who their entire cap is covered by profit share. So if we would love to have further conversations with you as it relates to profit share. If you know of anybody who are looking to either get into the real estate industry or are stuck somewhere else in a complacent environment, we would love to have a conversation. And it's an incredible opportunity for you to make some incredible income. I will tell you this, it changes people's lives. And if you have any questions as it relates to how it changes your life, just go ask Stillman, Newbie, Willie, Steph Connor yesterday or this morning made $1,300. Kimmy made $1,500. I mean, it's an incredible gift. So 82,000 was shared back to you guys this morning on the 21st. It's a beautiful day. Thank you guys for everything you do, and make it a great day. Awesome. Thanks guys for being on. North Shore crew, stay on and we'll do new listings and buyer needs. And the Lake Country crew, feel free to jump over to the Lake Country meetup. Lake Country meetup is Zoom ID